Welcome back to the Lego Effect. And the crowd goes wild. Oh man, it is great to be here. Like I said, I'm so excited. Tonight's going to be life altering, everybody. I promise you. The conversations we're about to have is about to be off the charts. So please share this. It's available now on YouTube. You can catch it on Facebook, Periscope, everywhere you can find it. Okay. So without further ado, we're going to get this started. We're going to bring out first James Goddard. Now, James is a phenomenal worship leader. He lives in Georgia. He is a worship leader at Victory World Church, which is a phenomenal ministry, a huge ministry. They have the right intentions. They have a huge file, and their purpose and their goal at all times is leading everyone to Christ, not just a particular one, everyone. And that's those who are found and those who are lost. Okay. And I commend him. He is a phenomenal musician. He is a phenomenal singer. He's a phenomenal songwriter and a phenomenal man. Understand what I'm saying? And I can't say enough about him. I'm going to bring him on and I'm going to let him introduce himself as well. And then once we do that, and then we'll bring on Percy Robinson as well. All right. So without further ado, please welcome to the stage, everybody, Mr. James Goddard. What's going on with your brother?
What's going on, man? What an
Hey,
intro, man.
I listen. I tried, man. I sat there and I said, dude, don't mess this up.
Uh,
Okay, like, don't mess this up. Take your time and really think about how to give my man his proper due. But what's going on with you, man? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty
Good, man.
good, man.
I was
You're
saying to myself, man, I was like, yo, look at that mic. I was like, I want one of those, you know?
I'm gonna be real honest with you. This is my boy Jamal McGee. He's one of our worship leaders at Victory, and he allowed me to take some of his gear and some of his rig home
Boom.
just to be able to record from home and stay creative and things like that. So shout out to my boy Jamal, because this is totally
There it
his
is.
his rig, and he's spoiling me a good bit. So
There it
yeah,
is. Well,
man.
we thank you, man. We thank you. So, how was your day today, man?
Bro, today was really good. Took it easy with the family. We are
Mhm,
still our doors are still not open right now.
mhm.
The church is not closed. The building is closed. The
Facts.
church is still very much on the move, is still very much out here,
Mhm.
loving on people, loving on the neighborhoods, out on the streets. But the building
Right.
is closed right now. Still, I think we're maybe opening up in like a month or so.
Mhm.
So we're doing tons during the week, but yeah, it's super super interesting on Sundays.
Awesome.
We're
Awesome.
streaming. We got like 5 services now, I
Wow.
think.
Wow.
Yeah, like a Saturday night and 4 on Sunday. So
Whew.
we're doing what we can, man, and people
I
are
hear you.
are streaming and tuning in. So it's been really cool, man. God's doing a
Awesome.
lot
Awesome.
right now.
But I know I've seen a lot of victory online,
Yeah,
and obviously you guys operate at a pristine level.
we try.
It's I mean it's really great. I really I'm one that I really love production. You
Yeah,
know, I think production enhances the experience.
for
When
sure.
we are creating an experience, obviously that experience is towards bringing everybody towards the source,
Yeah,
okay, which is God. But we want to enhance the experience because there's so many different areas that people come through in terms of their ear, their musicality, what they're used to hearing. So we want to make it as engaging,
yeah,
right, as possible for them. So can give us a little? I know we're going to get to the nuts and bolts of our conversation, but I'm
yeah,
very interested, and I'm sure everybody else is interested as well, into some of kind of the production that you guys do.
yeah.
And you guys can, those of you can look them up online at Victory World Church. And you'll see for yourself, but shed some light on that.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, with our musicians and
Mhm,
our teams, like you said, we're based in Norcross, which is very close to Atlanta. Atlanta is
mhm,
very diverse. We love our sound to be diverse, and we believe that that the style and the musicians that you give, they put new flair and new flavor on it. And so even if we're doing even something from a specific arrangement, we
Right.
believe that it sounds different, because there may be like a gospel type drummer, and
Hmm.
he may be playing CCM, and so he's going to
Right.
bring some fills and some flavors, things like that.
Okay.
But we're all telling the same story, and that
Right.
is Jesus, and that is
Right.
to see him high and lifted up every single weekend, at every single moment of worship.
Right.
I'm so grateful for the production team that we have.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that our every single person on our team, they are storytellers.
Awesome.
I I'll probably go into this a little bit more in the next
Hmm.
several minutes when I kind of maybe talk about where I came from. But I wanted to be a film director for the longest time before music, and
Right.
so for me, storytelling is why I got into music, is why I love the medium of music. And it's what drew me to worship, was to see and watch people fall in love with the story of God, and watch people fall in love with the narrative that the Lord's downloading to people through music. But yeah, our production team, man, they're pretty unmatched. They are amazing. So whether it's from the lighting, whether it's from the sound, whether it's from our broadcast mix and all that stuff. Like, we're just trying to tell the right story, the same story. And we're also trying to give people a moment and an experience where everything else can melt away. Everything
Right.
else is just centered and focused on Jesus, and that's all that matters. We're not in the business
Absolutely.
of trying to take attention or focus the attention on ourselves as worship leaders or musicians, but we want it to be artistic and creative, because we serve a creative God. We were
Right.
created by a creative God, and so nothing is really ever the same from weekend to weekend. The people look
Right.
different, they sound different, the music sounds different, the visuals are different, and we are definitely a church that believes in excellence as well, because we
Right.
believe that the gift that we want to give to God, it needs to be a good one, and it needs to be the best that
Absolutely.
we possibly can bring. Not okay, not some, not kind of there, but like we want everything that we give to be a good and excellent gift. We believe that. So
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah.
So, when did you know? When did you feel? When were you led? When did you get that nudge from your film perspective and that mindset that you had that was going to be it? You know,
Yeah.
to where it shifted to, okay, I guess I'm going another way. When did
Yeah.
that happen for you?
So I was like a homeschool kid,
Okay.
who I grew up in the Midwest, and so I'm from Illinois, a couple
Hmm.
hours south of Chicago. I did like dual enrollment, which is where I was in high school, but I was going to a college, and so I was
Okay.
taking like high school, I was taking college classes that counted for both. And
Okay.
there was one day where my older brother, he was involved with, I think it was called InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. So it was this kind of Bible study gathering of just Christian people. It didn't really have any affiliation with any specific church. And I was getting into musicals and stuff, and just kind of getting
Hmm.
into choir with some of my friends. And long story short, he looked at me, one of the leaders, my brother's friends. He looked at me. He's like, James, you're like starting to sing and stuff, right? And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're picking up guitar, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, well, we need a worship leader for our large gathering in a month. And I was like, what does that mean? And he was like, well,
Right.
we do like 3 to 5 people Bible studies when every day, when whatever's best for people in their classes. He said, we really
Hmm.
need a worship leader. I said, well, cool, man. I hope you find one. Like I, again,
That part.
yeah, I was a kid, man. I was a high school kid in college, going like, I'm just trying to swim here, because this is a sink or swim.
Right.
And he goes, cool. I said, hope you find one. He goes, cool. I'll see you next month. And I was like, hey, Jason, you didn't hear me right. I said, I hope you find somebody. He goes, I did. I'll see you next month. And I go,
There it
dude,
is.
I can't even play. I was like, I think I was 16 at the time. I was like, dude, I can't even play chords and sing at the same time. Like, what do you want from me? I'm late to the game to this music thing. And long story short, there's a high responsibility in my, just in my, my DNA. And I just like, I went home and I thought about it. I was like, dude, if I don't show up, they're not going to
Right.
have anybody.
There
Like,
it is.
I
So
gotta show
instantly,
up.
see how that works. So instantly, you felt the burden and the responsibility of the call.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Instantly, it started just right then.
yeah, and I honestly didn't really still even know what worship was, because to again, to be clear, I grew up in a Christian home. My parents were believers. They were, great parents. But the Jesus thing, it always felt like religion for the longest time. And at
Right.
that stage of my life, I was really going, okay, I need to be all in or all out.
Right.
And I think God used music, and God used that worship time for one for me to fall in love with God in those times and
Mhm.
really hear his voice and to feel his love.
Right.
But man, the storyteller in me was like watching people fall in love with Jesus and lift their hands and
Wow.
have amazing
Wow.
moments where they're getting on their knees and they're crying. And I'm just like, this the storyteller
This
in
is
me
it.
was like, this is great. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know that God is really, getting a hold of people. And again, long story short, I started receiving calls from
Hmm.
people in various schools, like high schools in our
Hmm.
county, and they were like, "Hey, we heard about you. Would you mind coming and leading, a team of worshipers at our like rally and things like that?" And so I would start going to do things, and I was like, "I don't even know how you guys got my number. I don't even know
That's
how,
hilarious.
And so again, there was a defining moment where I said, God, like, I want to go to LA. I want to do this film thing.
Hmm.
I love acting. I love everything about film. And the Lord just
Right.
said, if you'll trust me, I got you. Like, if you
There
follow
it is.
this, if you trust me, I got you. And I said, okay. And so, on a personal level, I needed discipleship. I didn't know what that word
Wow.
really meant back in the day, but I was like, I don't want knowledge. I don't want information. I want revelation and I want discipleship. And so I moved down to Atlanta. One of my best friends was going through a discipleship program that was based at
Hmm.
Victory, and I've been here ever since, man.
Wow.
Was so blessed to really once I moved down here to be surrounded by a bunch of mentors and people that just saw the diamond in the rough, like they looked at me and said
Wow.
that word for word, just, hey man, you're rough, but there's a diamond in there
Listen.
somewhere, and we really want to help you kind of unleash that. And we want to help you become a leader past the creative, past everything else.
Wow.
We see that there's a shepherd in you, and we see that
Hmm.
there's, a love of people, and we want to kind of help you get to that level. So I'm
Wow.
very grateful for, all the people that have influenced me and been a part of my life, because I wouldn't be here without them for sure.
Man, there's the show. But uh, it's so important. You mentioned so many great nuggets there, uh, and the key one that I took was discipleship.
Mm,
It's so important as worship leaders that we first learn to follow,
yes, absolutely.
right? In every area of our worship, because if we
Absolutely.
don't know how to follow, number one, we could never know what's needed,
Yep.
right? And if we never know what's needed, we can't possibly be able to know what to pray for.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying? And
Yep.
it's just the ripple effect that goes into being charged and prepared, right? For the congregation or even the person that you're just talking to one on one,
Yeah.
right? So we're gonna get in that because I don't want to get too because we can kind of go
Yeah, I got you.
on
I
that
got
alone.
you.
So I have my man Percy
Awesome.
waiting in the green room,
Awesome.
and he's super excited. He's like, I want to get in on this conversation.
Yeah, man, bring him in.
He's like, hurry up and bring me in here. So
Let's get it.
without further ado, the crowd goes wild. Everybody, welcome to the stage, the virtual stage, that is. Uh, my man, Percy Robinson. What's going on, brother?
Woo!
What's up, dude?
What's up, brother? How are you, sir?
I'm good,
What's up,
man.
man?
Nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
likewise,
I'm
brother.
doing
Likewise. You were
good, man.
blessing
I'm
me.
doing good. It's
I
so
was
good.
backstage hearing
Man,
you,
I'm
and I
glad
said,
to have you
what a
here.
blessing.
Nice.
Listen, it's really, I'm here to um, really just gain insight from you two. Hold on one second. There's something going on. There you go. I'm
Oh,
really here to gain insight, um, from you both, because you guys have such a rich valley of knowledge in
mhm.
the worship arena. And everybody, Percy is one of the most renowned worship leaders that I've seen in action. I mean, I
Local.
I, I, I promise you, everybody. I promise you, like when this brother right here gets after it, things start to change. And you can tell his heart is sincere. You can tell that the stuff that he sings, or the songs that he sings, he's lived. And
Mm,
even if he
Come on.
searches for the ingredients to reach those who are listening to him, and you can see a person reaching and searching in the moment.
mm,
Like there's our preparation that we go through as worship, even as musicians, before
mhm,
we get to a service. But then there's the attention to detail in the moment,
Mm.
right? And that's one of the things that, I mean, I look up to. He's a father. I mean, a husband. Excuse me. He attends the Change Church in Ewing, New Jersey. I could have sworn it was Connecticut, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. But I thought it was Connecticut. But he's a worship leader. He's a reformist, and he is just a cool dude.
yeah.
This is my dude right here. If you need somebody that's going to check up on you, that's going to ensure that you're okay, that's going to put himself before others, this is the guy.
Come on.
And my prayer is that we don't take him for granted.
Oh,
Mm.
thank you, brother.
We don't take it. So, but I'm gonna digress. And man, talk to us. Tell us how your day was. What's going on with you.
I am well. I was running late. The family decided to
I
have a
know.
family dinner because I guess everybody's believing God for that COVID got on a plane and left. So they decided to have a family dinner, but they wanted me to do all the cooking. So I'm like, ah. So I'm a
Oh,
chef by trade.
look at
Nice.
this.
So I love cooking. I love all that stuff. But
I did not know that.
yeah, well, you're busy, so you wouldn't. But you know, so let me just say this. I love my brother Isaiah. Like we met about a year ago, and instantly I just was like, "Yo, bro, you're gonna be my brother." Like, just FYI, like
Facts.
Mm.
I need your credit card information, your social security number. You're gonna be my brother.
Oh
You're gonna be
man.
my no. So I have this thing where I just immediately I claim people,
Mm.
and I don't know why.
Yes.
I don't know why God allows me to do that, but it was a ministry assignment, and I just claimed him as my brother. But what I didn't know was that it was more than just hanging out. I realized that
Mm.
down the road, I would be literally covering him. And I don't even have to tell him that. But there's times when I told him that. And I believe that when God connects you to people and he assigns people to your life, that it doesn't really take a whole bunch of hoopla for you to do what God has called you to do. For me, just because I know that God sent him my way, he's on my prayer list. I'm checking on him. I'm sending him prayers. And it's not even about for any public reason. I'm not putting on his public wall. The Lord told me to
Right.
tell you. No, it's a text. You're covered. God
Mm.
got you. You
Mm.
know,
Right.
the journey is just as important as the destination. I just believe in that because I believe that for so long we've been going about our days and going about our years, and we've had no real connections. And my
Right.
pastor always says, thank God for my pastor, Pastor Darius Daniels, who I love. He's my spiritual father. The greatest resources come from relationships.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is something that God will allow us to connect to as brothers. And I don't know what it is right now, but I do know that down the road, there's going to be something that I might be able to use that God is orchestrating the connection. And I
Right.
just believe in that. One of my prayers when I was younger, and I know I'm talking a mile a minute because I'm
No,
late,
you good, man. You
but
good. You good.
but one of my prayers years ago, I was leading worship at one of my former church, and I began to cry at the pulpit, and I just was like, Lord, what's going on? And he was like, you're ministering, you're ministering to the people as if they're just people, but they're my children, and I didn't understand that. He said,
Mm.
pray from my heart. This is the Lord speaking. Pray from my heart. Uh, let me show you my heart for my people. And I was like, what does
Right.
that mean? He said, fast for a week. I went up to the choir stand and I broke down because I felt it was like, in video games when someone throws you their heart and you see like the heart, you're like, ooh. It was
Right.
something like that where I began to see people, not just congregants, but they were hungry. Their souls were thirsty. And because we're so comfortable and so familiar, we just treat people as if they're just, oh, that's sister so-and-so, that's brother so-and-so. But yet sister so-and-so made it through one of the hardest weeks of her life. And God allowed me to see further than just the actual person. He allowed me to see their heart, their story, their journey. And I began to minister to people so much more effectively because I was ministering to them from God's heart perspective, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I believe that he wants us to see it his way. How can we minister effectively when we don't have the heart of God, nor do we have the heart for his people?
Right.
We're just entertainment.
Man.
Just like the people that are on the stage that we pay $100 for. They're like, yo, welcome to my concert. Hey, good night.
Yeah.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But yet we're paying
and are late
$150.
and start late.
You said what? You said what?
And start late.
And start late. But the point of the matter is that we're paying for entertainment. These people that are coming before us, that God allows us to come before us, they literally need a word. They need a touch. They need a visitation. They need God to come and sit in. And our responsibility is to say, Lord, not my will, but your will be done. But whatever you want to speak through me, do it.
Yeah.
Because if you get Purcy, I tell people all the time, if Purcy performs, this is what happens. When God steps in the room, life change happens.
Yeah.
I want God to step in the room.
Yeah.
His presence is everything.
Everything.
So yeah, that was my day.
Listen.
What a day.
What a day.
That was my day.
What a day.
Yeah, right.
And you want to know what and you want to know what something that was very thought-provoking that you actually just ended with. And you said, and you basically alluded to, you know who you are.
Yeah.
And you know what you present. And you said it's like when it's me, when it's Purcy, they clap. But
That's
when
it.
it's not me, things change. But the acknowledgement of the separation of the two is what's so important. I mean, you've actually identified that it's not you.
Correct.
Right? Which is it's the most breathtaking thing and almost relieving thing in the world, because it really alleviates the pressures that we sometimes feel as the performer mechanism kicks in.
Absolutely.
Because we all want to sound good, we want to look good, we want to do, all the things that are, quote unquote popular.
Correct.
We want to be that person that people are in awe of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the self side, that's the flesh side. But then when you can actually say and be okay with the fact that this is not necessary. I am not necessary.
That's
just
good.
Me being used is.
That's good. Because being something you just said, being okay, that's the hard part. Because being okay, realizing that this is not the Purcy show. My pastor was talking a few weeks ago about being self-reliant versus God-reliant.
Yes.
And it was so important because, me and my friends have this joke where we text and we say, hey, what are we doing today? Because I'm a big deal. That's a joke that we say to each other. We really do say that. We'll be like, hey, I need, when I go on minister next week, I'm going to need 3 towels, 4 Oreos, 1 bag of chips, and 3 wings, because I'm a big deal. This is the joke that we have amongst ourselves. But at the end of the day, when you realize who you are and whose you are, you take a step back and say, there is nothing that I can do for you, but maybe put a smile on your face and maybe, tickle your little fancy of a good note. But when there is a need internally, I can't do it. I can't. God's love, God's presence is eternal. My tickle your fancy is temporary. And I had to realize that, because I'm like, wait a minute, are they clapping for me or for? Wait a minute, what's going on here? What am I doing? Am I doing this because I need affirmation? Am I doing this because I'm looking for applause? Like, there's times in my life where I was like, oh, I'm doing this because I can, but not because I'm called. And I had to take a step back and say, whoa. I can no longer just do this because I can. I literally need God to say, this is my assignment, and I'm going to grace you for the assignment. When God steps in and graces you for the assignment, what looked like hard work becomes, whew, thank you, Lord, because without you, I couldn't have done this.
Yeah.
There's so many things in our life. You know what I mean? There's things in our lives that can hinder us and prohibit us to go further, but God literally breaks things apart and says, don't worry, because where I lead you, just follow me. Look what happened when he called Peter to the water. Peter would have never walked on water until what? Jesus bidded him to come.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Right. And you want to know what? That's so great. And you guys have you both have basically given um, onus and credibility to the fact that worshiping is the nutrient necessary,
Mm.
right, to endure
Yeah.
the trials that we go through.
Oh, yeah.
You know, praise is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's life changing. It's uplifting. Worship connects you in a different way.
Yeah.
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 And in the times that we're in, we need to connect in a different way.
Mm.
So with this conversation, and it's so great that we can organically see and feel, even virtually,
Yeah.
that the skill sets that we present individually all have a unified goal.
Absolutely.
Understand what I'm saying? So if you guys don't mind, I'd like you to, before we even move on, could you give us some insight to the congregations? Because obviously, you know, I'm intentional um, about what I do,
Right.
and you know, because of the times that we're in, we want to be I'm being very specific
Mm-hmm.
because there is a certain question that's lying out there that we want to tackle,
Mm.
right? And that one of those underlying questions is what's going on with the church community, and how are we staying uplifted as worship leaders to attach ourselves
Yeah.
to this nutrient, right?
Mm.
Because we are all hurting in our own way,
Yeah.
right? So Percy, you have a hurt. James, you have a hurt. Me, I have a hurt, but they all come from a different arena, and we
Right.
want to tackle those arenas. So James, tell us about your congregation.
So, like I said earlier, you know, we're really close to Atlanta. Our church is about 30 years old. We are one of the most diverse churches in America. It was such a God ordained thing. Little history. When our pastors planted the church, our county was predominantly white. And when the thing that's called white flight happened, and everybody tried to move away from the city and more toward, you know, the newer suburbs, all of the cultures came in because we have this massive international airport. And so 30 years ago, God ordained our church to be right where it is located, where there's all of this amazing culture and there's all these amazing different nationalities. And so our church, we have over 100 nations represented in our church. And you know, when we lead, I always, you know, we remind ourselves this is what heaven looks like. It doesn't look white, it doesn't look black, it looks like every single color, every single culture. um to address kind of where people are at right now. You know, we did a panel in regards to everything that's happening, you know, pandemic wise. We feel like we've addressed a lot. Obviously it's ongoing, it's not over.
Right.
Coronavirus did not just take a break, you know. But you know, specifically, we did a panel in regards to just everything, all the racial tension, the rioting, the looting, the deaths of all these people in the streets, police brutality, et cetera, et cetera. And the one thing that, you know, they were asking me, like, what am I seeing as someone who's white, who's here at the church, who's planted? What am I feeling? What am I seeing? And I just see a lot of fear right now, and I see a lot of pain. One of the things that was said at the beginning of COVID-19 was this this virus will bankrupt more people than it will kill.
Right.
And I mean, come on, man. We live in America. People are grinding for that money. They want that American dream. And right now, you know, I was thinking about it the other day. I felt like the Lord said, I'm disciplining my sons and daughters. I'm pruning my church. I'm cutting off the fat. I'm getting rid of the chaff right now. And you know, I was in kind of in my prayer time, in my worship time, and I was just crying. I was like, God, all of this injustice, all this murder, um, it's not fair, you know, all of these people who are dying due to this virus, it's not fair.
Yeah.
And just feeling this pain, and really, again, trying to put my mind in the same space, in the headspace as uh my brothers and sisters out there. And I felt like the Lord just said, I've got him,
Mm.
and I discipline those that I love. He reminded me of that. And I'm a dad. I have 4 kids, and I always remind my son, hey man, I'm having this conversation not because I'm trying to get on you, because I love you. I'm trying to teach you something right now, homie. Like, and he'll be like, I know. No, dude, I love you.
Mm.
Dad, like, if I didn't care about you, I wouldn't even talk to you. But I care about you, and I want to have a conversation. And so right now, man, I think, you know, I would say our congregation is in a good spot because, you know, we are moving our people from believers to disciples. That's what we're about, is moving our people from being just a believer into being a actual disciple and a follower of Jesus. And so right now, our people have a lot to stand on because they don't just believe it, they follow it, they walk it out. But you know, when we look at our neighborhoods, and when we see all of the protests and all of the people right now that are on the streets really voicing right now for their fallen brothers and sisters, you know, there's a lot of fear, man. There's a lot of pain. And as worshipers, it is our duty, and it is our highest calling to lead people with all of that weight. And you know, in a sense, like like a biblical priest, to meet them and go, okay, here's what you need to do. Here's the outer courts and the inner courts, and now the Holy of Holies, and just allow them moments and times for them to lay their burdens and lay their fears and lay their pain at the feet of Jesus, and experience that life change. Because like you said, if it's just the James show, I might like scratch that genre itch and that musical itch for you, but I'm not going to
Yeah.
change your life. Like
Correct.
only that happens in the presence of Jesus, you know. And I find myself praying this more times than I can count. And I just, when I'm leading a bunch of people, I just say, God, would you do the deep work that only you can do? Would you do the deep work in our hearts that only you can do?
Yeah.
And I think we can work on ourselves. We can change ourselves. We can craft ourselves. We can do all those things. But the reason that we always come back to those moments of worship is because there's a deep work that only the Holy Spirit can do, and we have to give him access. So that was a crazy long answer in regards to that
No,
question, but
that's okay, because we want to identify with the man, and we want to identify with the heart.
yeah,
And that's why I called this, you know, because it's so important that people see men worshiping.
yeah, yeah,
It's such a powerful tool and a powerful visual when they see a man worship.
amen.
I love my, you know, my women, my lady worshipers. This is no, you know, dismiss of that. But there's something that ignites something when
Yeah.
they see a man worship. You know,
Yeah.
before I go on a tangent, Percy, tell us about your congregation, man, and kind of what's the state and the feel, and you know, of what's happening today.
Yeah. So, I mean, right before this all happened, we were in this phase of really so our the basic principle of our church is life change,
Yeah.
changing one life so it changes another life. In other words, this, like you said, discipleship. And my pastor, I thank God for just the way he leads, because his whole heart behind it is just have a God first lifestyle. If there's never a stage again, if there's never an opportunity for us to sit in a seat, make him first. And I think this really allowed us to really it put everybody in this place of, am I really equipped? Am I really a disciple? Am I really as faithful as I really say I am.
Yeah.
This really, it really, it's so funny because in our church we have like spotlights and lights and everything, and everybody's under the lights and we're worshiping the Lord, and smoke machines, and we're just like, hallelujah, the glory's coming, the glory falls and everything. But I believe that there's a bigger spotlight on us now, because now we have no church to lean on in regards to the building.
Yeah.
The building is closed, but the church is still open because we are the church. But
on.
now this allowed us to say, whoa, wait a minute. Can I get to God for myself? Do I need the team to say, lift your hands and worship the Lord?
That's good.
And I think that this is so important, because in my prayer time, in my devotion time, the Lord was like, reset.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh? Reset. And I just was like, I don't get it. Like, I'm not understanding what. And he literally took me to the picture of a phone that used to work really good, but then something kept freezing. It was working, but it was freezing. There was some glitches, but it was working. And it was like, Percy, put the books down and read my book.
Wow.
And I was like, read your book? What are you talking about? I'm reading all these different passages, all these different books on worship. I'm reading, how to create a great life at home. Blah, blah. Get back to my word. I had to go back to the manufacturer's manual. I had to go back to the original manual to really, really reset. I had to recalibrate. I had to really make this oh my gosh, like, Lord, am I just doing this out of obligation and we can be honest here. This is an honest form, right? Because I believe truth brings freedom. You know what I mean? Right. And it's just like, you see so many people just operating because they can, and they're operating because this is the position. But the Lord was like, now I want to take you further. So I need you to come back to me. So I said all that to say that we're in a state of resetting and coming back to the heart of the matter.
Yep.
So that when we get back together, it will never be back to normal. But when we get back together, we won't need an excuse. We won't need we won't need any cheerleaders. Yeah. I've been building altars for the last couple of months. I've been going to empty parking lots, sitting in my car facing trees and houses and mountains, and feeling the presence of the Lord while I sat in my car. And I said, no one sung a song. There was no intro.
Yeah.
There was no scripture. There was just Father, I thank you.
Yep.
And he's drawing us to this because he's like, you guys have relied on a building.
That's good, man.
Now you have to rely on me.
Yep. And
this is where I believe we're at as a church. My pastor started a series called Insecure today. It blew me away to the fact that we have been operating not fully in what God has called us to do, because we're so insecure on, I don't know if that was really God, but I'm going to go with it. I'm not really sure if I'm really equipped. It goes back to this whole self-reliant thing. What has God shown you that will allow you to say, God showed me, so that's what I'm going to do? Like when someone says, if you make a right down that street and make the first left and make the next right, you'll end up at the destination. What is God saying to us in regards to direction for our life? So we're resetting so that we can hear from him clearer. Now we can say, I am the sheep. I am a sheep. Oh my God. His sheep knows his voice. I can hear his voice now. Clearer. Yeah, right. My prophetic, clearer. My discernment is clearer. I'm saying things and I'm seeing it happen now because my connection to him is now, there's no foil wrapped around the wire now. It's just a clean connection.
Yeah.
And this is what he's calling us to. He's calling us to a real connection. Because after this, the people are going to need him in a stronger way.
In a stronger way. And
in a stronger way.
You just segued me to that next point, because you've both stated your revelations in your worship moments in time. James, you said, we're at a place where we are becoming disciples to the need. And Purcy, like you said, this is a reset. We are all getting back to the center, right? But what happens now in you getting back to the center, but because of the dynamic in the world that we are, where people are losing hope, people are angry, people have, they don't know where the next check is going to come from. They're having issues buying groceries. They're feeling alone. those who are attached to the church building so much that feel lost because now they feel as if they have no attachment,
Yeah.
right? And they don't know how to necessarily reattach, right? Without the comfort of having the community of the church, right?
Yeah.
Your community now is you and your worship experience. We do our services, and but in addition to that, there are many out there, many who just don't know. And with all those variables, how are you preparing now? How are you preparing to reach them towards the revelation not only you have gotten, but the revelation that your leader has bestowed upon you as well?
Yeah.
Uh, something that I want to add to what Percy was saying. Because we've been apart, I've been leading a small group with a lot of my musicians and my singers, and just basically just opened it up for everybody to come in, because I lead for a young adult community during the week. And so because we didn't have our normal kind of Tuesday service and check in with everybody, we needed that weekly check in with each other. And something that I've really, as the pastor of the team, just really try to get everybody to talk about is, normally when we get together, we talk about music, we talk about set lists, we talk about transitions, we talk about, hey, I'm going to pray maybe around here, or hey, I'm thinking about this scripture, so just kind of watch me for the changes, that kind of thing. We all show up, we have our homework ready to go, and we are about to just do this thing and go into the presence of God. And so normally we're talking about all that stuff, and it's always kind of what we're doing centered. And I looked at them and I said, guys, we have nothing to do right now other than be with each other and talk about life. And so long story short, because I want Percy to weigh in on this too, and I don't want to be long-winded, but our conversations led us to, I asked my team this question: what would it look like if you gave this pandemic purpose? What would you look like if you gave this pandemic purpose? On the other side of it, what would you look like? Who would you become? And so we started talking about essence, right? It's not about, Percy, I would hope that, someone at your funeral would say Percy was a loving friend, was so caring, those kinds of things. Not, oh man, he had the best voice ever, he was my favorite singer. Like, that's cool now, but that is really not what I want in my eulogy. I want this man loved Jesus. He devoted his life to reconciliation, people being reconciled to God, man to God. He was a friend. He was a father. He was a creative, that kind of thing. And so I talked to my team about essence, and I said, and a lot of people started, kind of hopping in and go, yeah, like, I want to do this. Like, I want to do this with my time. And I said, hang on. A lot of you are thinking about what you want to do. And I said, depending on your personality, a lot of you need to do less and become more.
That's good.
And that can sound real cheap on the surface, but you think about it. Well, I want my essence to be faithful. How do you become faithful? You sit with the faithful one that's never left you. You be with him. You let that faithfulness seep inside of you. You study it. You say, God, would you make me faithful? If you want to become more loving and more patient, God, I want to sit with you, and I want to hear your love, and I want to feel your love. And you, because you are being with him, you become more, something more than you could ever be by yourself. And so for me, I'm really drilling into my team. It's about your essence. It's not always about what you do. It's about who you become, because when you actually become that, then you do more. Like, if I can real quick shift to some of these racial tensions real quick, a lot of our Black brothers and sisters right now are shouting at the white community, you need to do more, you need to do more, and you need to do more. And I am 100% behind that. please, whoever's watching, don't hear me wrong. But what I also want to say, and what I'm also trying to help my white brothers and sisters, people in my community, is you can do more, but then you're probably going to get disillusioned if you don't see anything change. And then you're just going to get apathetic and you're going to stop. But when you become a listener, when you become someone who feels the pain of your black and brown brothers and sisters, when you become someone who sits and weeps with people, you become someone who wants to see change, and then you go and do more. It always leads to you doing, but most of us are like, yeah, I'll just do. And eventually that fruit just gets less and less and less. The roots have to go deeper and go, this is who I'm becoming. I am becoming a follower and a disciple of Jesus. I am becoming a man after God's own heart. I am becoming someone who sits in the goodness of God every day. And because I do that, I become someone more than I could ever be by myself. And then I am prompted to go and do something that I would never have the strength or maybe even the courage to do on my own. And so right now, in regards to that, like that's kind of how I pastor my team. And as far as the, our people, God's just saying, James, meet them where they're at. Because, to be honest, guys, I'm a white dude that's leading predominantly a congregation that does not look like me. And God's just saying, wow, take them, whatever they have in their hands, whatever they have in their lives, take them, James, to me, lead them to me, and I got it. And that means, hey, guys, it's okay to cry. Hey, guys, it is okay to be angry. Hey, guys, it is okay to not have any answers. But what's not okay is to keep all that bottled up. What's not okay is to let that be a wall from the presence of God. And so right now, that's kind of where what I'm feeling as a worshiper, a creative, is going, create moments where people can unload with the Lord, where they can unpack, where they can process, where they can mourn, where they can grieve. And that's where that pruning happens. That's where that discipline happens. It goes, hey, you might have looked to money for your safety and support. You put your faith in money. You no longer have that. You got to put your faith in me.
Yes.
Man, James, you trying to get folks to send you offerings in.
Listen, I'm about to go to my Cash App.
Hey, man.
Listen.
Hey, man.
But you said something, and I appreciate your boldness, and I appreciate your willingness to go there, even without me prompting you, because I think you understand the moment that we're in.
Yeah.
And the key thing that you said was listen.
Yeah.
Because at the root of things, individually, there's not much you can do.
Yeah.
This takes a village.
Exactly.
This takes the mindset to change and shift. I don't need your explanation.
Yep.
As much as I need you to listen.
Yep.
I don't need your soft words and your pat on the back as much as I need you to listen.
Yep.
Because if you hear me, and I mean, if you really sit down and you allow yourself to let everything that I say to you penetrate you without having knowledge, without wanting to decipher, without wanting to have a historical perspective attached to it, if you just listen to me, listen to the community, listen to the worshiper, just listen and try to identify.
Yeah.
Most things you'll see on your own.
Absolutely.
You'll feel it, especially as a worship leader.
Yep.
Because if you're really tapped in, one thing at Restoration Christian Ministries with, Pastor Keith Campbell, that's my pastor. One of our mantras is being tied to the vine. If you are attached, right, you won't have so many questions. You won't feel so weighed by things that you know are already coming. Okay, but let me digress, because Purcy, you got it.
It was there's so much he said that I just want to jump on and just like go into, ride into the hills with it because it was so rich. I need to jump back and say that so many people have been, they're listening to rebuttal and not to understand. And that's really big. That's a big issue. We really don't have the time to talk about that. But, when we deal with fruit versus root, there's another issue because so many people are dealing with the hardship and the scrutiny and the pain of it. But that's just the fruit on the tree. Those are the apples that we see, but we all know that there's a root to this matter that it takes a while to dig into the root. It takes some time. So going back to what we were talking about, excuse me, this year is a year that we've decided we've declared more for our people. So that's why I'm laughing because Gene, he must be in our congregation or something. He's watching or something.
Hey man, I'll come to your congregation. You tell me where it's at, I'll come.
No, let me tell you, because it's so. You kept saying it, and it made me laugh because it's like how can God allow us to declare more over a year that looks like it's less?
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because we can't even comprehend it. And it's like, so do we keep telling the people that God's going to do more? like, do we keep saying that? Well, we're going to go with this because this is what the Lord told us. But I guess sometimes you have to, when you dissect something and you say more, well, what is more? Well, maybe God wants more of me. Maybe God wants more from me.
Wow.
Maybe this is the time of sowing more into him so that the latter will be greater.
Yeah.
Like we got to start seeing it differently. And one of the things that we were saying was finding purpose through the pandemic. Find purpose through it. I'm telling y'all this, God is my witness. I have never sown so much financial seed in my life.
Wow.
Okay, let me help you understand. December 27th, I was laid off from my job.
Teach us, sir.
A temporary layoff. I was supposed to get called back in March. I was quiet about it. I'm not one of those guys that put things on social media, take a picture and go, pray for me. I'm just not, that's just not who I am. But what I will tell you is that I have never seen God move like this in what we call famine. Famine times, but God will give us streams in the desert. How do we thrive in times that look like people are dying? God's hand, you can't deny it. It's the hand. I have never sown so much. And I'm just like, Lord, I love you. I'm talking about paying for people's food, going to Dunkin' Donuts and paying for cars behind me. And I'm laughing driving away because I don't even want them to see me. I just want them to be blessed. I want them to understand that even in the midst of this time, racial tension, pandemic, quarantine, someone brought you a $3 cup of coffee. And you never know what that does for people.
Yeah.
So our worship team, we're meeting every 2 weeks on the Zoom. I should have put money in the stock for Zoom back in December. I wish the Lord would have showed me that.
Hello.
Come on.
Please. Somebody send me a note.
We all missed
the Lord should have shown us that. No. We all missed it. Yeah. But we're spending time, and I heard something that was said. We're not talking about set lists. We're not talking about how we looked or attires. We're talking about how are you?
Yeah.
What's going on with you? And I think that's so important because we're so busy serving that we're missing the heart of the matter. We're seeing people as this just their service. That's the alto, tenor, and soprano, the drummer, the organist, the keyboard. But what about their life? How are you?
Yeah.
We played a game on Zoom 2 weeks ago. We had to make up a song. I had to make up a song with Married with Children. It was so much fun. Yeah, I'm like, Holy Spirit. It was so crazy. It was so crazy. But I'm telling you that it took this time of uncertainty for us to draw closer and be more connected.
Yeah.
There is purpose because of this. God will not allow us to die and to go backwards. He's pulling us closer. And that's why we're getting more and more connected so that when we get out of this, we can really go further, faster. Yeah. And that's my prayer for people, that God take you further, faster, because he will redeem the time. But it is your responsibility to get the blueprint and say, Lord, all right, I'm here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know when I'm going back to work.
Yeah.
Wow.
But when I promise you that I can eat whatever I want to eat, there's gas in my car. I can buy a pair of sneakers if I would like. I can send money to anybody who needs. Well, don't get it twisted, you know. But
Purcy, my Cash App is.
No, but it's just so encouraging to see that what looked like something that was going to be damaging,
Yeah.
I'm finding strength in it because I realize that my help comes from the Lord.
Yeah.
My help comes from the Lord, you know?
Wow.
So that's my little 3 cents. But we are literally getting closer as a team, and we're becoming not just a team, we're becoming family.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important because we have these things called change tracks where people are literally weekly being a part of a group meetings, small groups. So we're keeping people engaged. My pastor said a few weeks ago, I'm hoping that you guys are not just watching service, but you're worshiping.
Yeah.
Because people are so comfortable now going like this on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, and I'm like, whoa. We actually still need to lift our hands without wrath and doubting and say, Lord, thank you, Father, for another day. Yeah. And it's to the point where I get out of bed, I am washing my face, brushing my teeth, putting on a pair of clothes, going to the basement, turning on, and I'm like, because I have to. I don't want to lose that. You know? Wow. And that's just where I'm at. I'm just like, Lord, you know, I can't wait to see what's on the other side of this, but I'm not rushing it because I want to grow through this.
Yeah.
I want to grow. I want to grow through this. I want to grow. Yeah.
Wow. I think it's so we cannot understate how important it is that even as worshipers that we get in touch with the human side of us.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Sometimes we can get so hyper spiritual where we forget that what my name is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can call each other brother, sister. Do you know my name though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I say that to say, do you know me? Have you sought after me? Have you tried to explore me outside to understand why I need this?
Mm.
It's so important. I would want to know now in everything that's going on. I mean, it's as for me, this has been an extremely burdening time.
Mm.
Extremely burdened. I think, you know, personally, I've even shared this with you and James as well, that um, there's so many different pulls that happen, you know, and sometimes even the worship leader needs to be seated into in terms of that spiritual equity, you know, that worship equity, you know, somebody pouring into you.
Yeah.
Because
So
we need a surge as well, because we deplete
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, you know, in everything that we attempt to do, right, in following God. But I want to kind of get more now to you as the individual, the man, the worshiper. How do you interpret um, what you hear, the revelation, while dealing with your particular truth as Purcy,
Mm.
as James, your
Mm.
particular truth for you, your particular truth, not for what you need as a worship leader,
Right.
but you as the worship leader for you, you know, because we've deciphered the revelation for what's needed for whom that we serve, because we are servants. We serve. Worshiping as a leader is we are serving those, right?
Yeah.
But now when it comes to you, when you're in your alone space, when you're watching CNN, and you know, if your son or your daughter comes and asks you a question, or when you're having a conversation with your wife, and you feel the weight of the
Yeah.
world, and you feel, and you might have a reaction, whether or not that
Mm.
reaction is emotional, whether or not that action is fear or pain or anger, you have a reaction. How are Percy? Tell me, as a black man, right? As a black
Mm-hmm.
man that has experiences, that has, you know, a home to cover, has a wife to cover, has himself to cover and still stay in line and aligned with the revelation.
Yeah.
Where are you? You know, what have you experienced and gone through in terms of dealing with the injustices and dealing with the questions that you might be asked as a worship leader? Because, you know,
Mhm.
sometimes we are challenged. Your God's
Yeah.
so big, but how do you feel about this? Right?
Absolutely.
I'm saying
Absolutely.
your God's so big, but this person just did that, and you see another black brother doing this, and the cops are doing, but you still have to present
Yeah.
Christ,
Yeah.
right? When in
Yeah.
actuality, and let's be real, sometimes I want to give you the other version,
Yeah.
Correct.
right? Let's if we can be as transparent as possible. Why? Because
Absolutely.
I have emotions. I'm a real
Yeah.
person. I have real insides. I have real blood running through my veins, and God allows me to feel those things.
Yeah.
I'm not numb
Hmm.
to what's
Yeah.
happening, and I have a reaction to it. So, what in terms of in that context and in that realm, what's it been like for you in these last few weeks or a month or two?
So to be honest with you, I have I have a squad that I call them. I have a squad.
Mhm.
Uh, Jesus had 12, but he took 3 with him. He kind of like, just uh, I'm very I'm an emotional guy, but I don't like to. I don't put that. I don't present that to everyone. I don't know if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Not that I'm walking around like this hard person. I'm not a. I'm a very nice guy. I'm a big. People call me Big Teddy Bear. Listen, call me what you want. I don't care. But the truth of the matter is that I realized that I was so busy checking on people,
Hmm.
but I wasn't. I wasn't doing any self checks. I wasn't doing any. I wasn't making sure I was okay
Mhm.
because I don't know where it came from, but I have this heart. Well, I know it's from God, but I'm an encourager. So
Mhm.
my job is to make sure that everyone around me is okay. I just feel like it's a gift that I have. Uh, but I started to realize that I need to not pull back, but I was like, Percy, what are you going to do to make sure you're okay? So I had to be honest,
Mhm.
open, and transparent. Real relationships, they call it hot conversations.
Mhm.
I had to be honest, open, and transparent with a select few because there's this quote that says, be authentic with everyone, but transparent with a select few. Everybody can't handle transparency.
That's right.
So you have to be careful with that because you just can't let it all hang out, you know? So I had to go to my squad and say, hey guys, I'm really, really not feeling what's going on. And I'm giving you the
Mhm.
the New Testament version. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And and I'm just, but it was real. It's like I'm not feeling this. I don't know what to do. I feel helpless. Now this is the one that I just told you that's always there for everyone else.
Hmm.
But I didn't feel like I didn't have the answer for me. And it was so hard for me to actually understand, oh my God, what are we going to do? The state of this, the temperature, the climate of everything. Oh my God, what do I post? What don't I post?
Right.
How can I still represent the kingdom, represent me, and it still come across in a positive way? Because I saw some posts that I wanted to copy and paste, but it was not. Guys, I saw a post last night. Are y'all ready for this? I saw a post on a worship feed
Hmm.
that had Malcolm X looking down saying that this bleep is bleep, bleep, bleep on a worship feed.
Wow.
I promise you I'm not making this up. I said, no way. There is no way that I can put this out there and expect people to be emotionally and mentally stable because of this post. They're looking to so many of us for answers. And I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna pause. Let me be still and know that he's God. And really, I'm gonna have some balance. I unplugged
Hmm.
social media, I unplugged from the news, and I said, Percy, you have to calm down because I've been there. I've been. I'm leaving. I get to Atlanta on Thursday. By the way, I'm flying into Atlanta on Thursday
Nice.
for a week. Yeah, for a week. I have to finish up and do some stuff. And but last year in Atlanta, I was in Dunwoody,
Mm.
and I was at a place called J. Alexander's. James, you heard about that restaurant?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're our church is
and
super close to there.
yeah, and Isaiah, me and my 2 brothers were there, and we were having a really nice dinner. and we looked really nice because, you know, this is just who we are. But, and we had money to pay for the food, but it was like something was going on around us. And I kept seeing the hostess bring people to the table next to us, but they kept moving. So my two brothers are talking, and I'm going to make it quick. I'm sorry. I'm going to make it quick. They're talking, and I'm like, what is going on? And then the guy, it was a male and two females, and he was like, you're just going to keep trying to sit us near those people. And I'll never forget the feeling that I had, because I said, guys, hold on. Something's not right. And I said, I called the hostess over and I said, ma'am, is everything okay? She was like, yeah. And I was like, no, it's not. And she was like, well, they just felt like you guys look like a threat to them. But we have on suits and ties and lobster and shrimp. And I said, I'm confused, because I'm just like, how do we look like a threat? And she started crying, because I guess she wasn't expecting me to actually confront her. You know, I'm a big guy with a big beard, and I guess this made her feel uncomfortable. It wasn't about me wanting to, I just wanted clarity. I wanted to make sure I felt and I knew what I was feeling was the truth. Make a long story short, I called the manager over. I wrote a letter to the company, and I did it the best way that I can do it, because I wanted my voice to be heard. But I went home. I went back to my brother's house, because I was still out there, and it hurt me. I was hurt. And I didn't understand why I felt this. I'm like, this is still happening? This is 2019. So now to come back around and see this happening, I'm going back to Atlanta this Thursday for a few days. And it's like, okay, how am I going to process this? How am I going to move forward? I got to stay focused. I have to make sure that I'm grounded. I got to just make sure, you know, I'm really, really just in my gray space, because anything else will just be me going off. And I don't want to go off, because I don't feel like going off is going to really, it's not going to solve anything. So pretty much I've been balanced. I've been trying to unplug. I've been talking to my people and just really saying, hey, I need to talk. And it's been a community for me. It's a few of my brothers that I can tell them anything. They'll take a bullet for me. And I think everybody needs that. I trust them. You know what I mean? Everybody needs that.
Wow. You know, James, I saw your face as he was talking, and if you don't mind me to hypothesize and assume a little bit, I felt that I saw not only slight disappointment, but you felt instantly a certain burden.
Yeah.
As he was speaking, can you kind of you want to kind of take us there a little bit? And like I said, you know, we're speaking openly, and I like that acronym HOT. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because that's something that we need more of.
Yeah.
What do you think, James? What do you think?
I think annoyed is probably a really mild word. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He's one of the musicians that play with me all the time, and he's about my same age, and he's got a new baby, and we just have a lot of similarities, you know, life wise. And he called me up, and we were talking about things. He's white as well, and I just was on the phone, and I said, I cannot believe that we are still dealing with this.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what the heck, man? Like, and he looked at me and he was just like, you know, yeah, well, you know, and he's, you know, in a sense, he was not trying to justify anything that's going on, because he was right where I was. But I was like, no, dude, like, I am legitimately like embarrassed to be a white dude right now. Like, I am so mad at people who look like me. And I mean, the fact that happens just, it bugs the crap out of me, you know. And I feel like, and this gets back to what I was saying about the Lord disciplining those he loves, separating the wheat from the chaff. And, you know, God just said, James, they're broken. Broken people break others. Broken people fix systems to break others. I mean, broken things or broken people create broken things. And you know, God rules and reigns with righteousness and justice. They're both there. And my heart, I'll put it like this, because you know, we said we're in a very safe space, a very open space.
Absolutely.
I'm so angry that this keeps happening. Enough is enough. I'm so angry that my brothers, even though I've never met you guys in person, like, I'm so angry that is your story. And I'm so sad. I'm so saddened that is the things that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And in the same breath, I'm angry and I'm sad, but I'm also broken. And I just go, God, there are so many things that I'm also broken in, and I need you. And I believe that in my anger and in my disappointment, and in some ways in my shame, just because of anybody that looks like me right now, and what we're perpetuating, whether it's someone's heart or whether it's systematically, I'm very aware that government cannot legislate heart change.
That is a fact.
I'm very aware of that. And so my prayer is just, God, you say, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted.
Right.
You say, you say that you oppose the proud and you give grace to the humble. And so in my own life, I am trying to listen. I am trying to understand. One of our amazing pastors, he's on our executive team. He's Black, and he said something about his prayer time, and he said, God, I just can't imagine what George Floyd was. I can't imagine that. And God responded to him and says, I don't want you to imagine it. I want you to feel it. I want you to feel the desperation. I want you to feel the embarrassment. I want you to feel why is no one helping me?
Yeah.
I don't need you to imagine it. I need you to feel it. And so my prayer and my calling right now is one, to respond in love and in listening to my brothers and sisters of color, but it's also to respond with very direct focus and go, guys, let's not, to anyone who's white, who looks like me, guys, let's not focus on the rioting. Let's not focus on the looting right now. Like, what are y'all talking about? People are hurting. People are hurting, and we are called to be ambassadors of reconciliation right now. They don't need you to debate the topic. They need you to meet them where they're at in their emotions. Right. And again, that goes back to the becoming more. If you want anything to change, you got to become empathetic. You got to become loving. You got to become listen, or you got to become patient. You got to become like the God that you're following.
You want to know what I was thinking as you were talking? Because, I wanted this conversation, James, with you, because my heart goes to everybody. And there are similarities that I can see in what um, a man, a Caucasian or a white man, and then the struggle of being put in a bucket, right? Because you all look the same,
Yeah.
But not necessarily moving the same.
Yeah.
If you put a bucket of crabs in a barrel, they're all not going to go in the same direction.
Right.
Right. They're all not going to have the same intent. But if I look at it again as a police officer, I'm put in that same bucket. And we're not moving in the same direction.
Right.
So I have a heart for that, because the same judgment that I can say, I understand that that you deal with, because of the umbrella
Right.
of being white in this time right now, right, is the same, along the lines of being the same as me being a police officer and having that same heart. I don't represent what I feel with my uniform. My uniform does not define me.
Yeah.
You being white does not define you. Your heart does.
Yeah.
So when I'm out on the street, in uniform, and I feel that hate. I feel,
Mm.
that distrust. I feel all of that. My heart wants to say, Isaiah still loves y'all. I
Yeah.
still got you. My job is to protect you. But on the outside, all you see is the color, the blue.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying? And I
Absolutely.
really want to sift towards a conversation, just like you demonstrated, that upon the opportunity, lending a voice that's sincere,
Yeah.
lending a voice that can be heard, and realistically, lending a voice that we can actually understand. I
Yeah.
understood what you just said to me just now.
Yeah.
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 I understood that. I understood the pain that you even feel and the embarrassment you feel because of the fact that you can't control the dynamic of everybody that even looks like you.
Yeah.
As a cop, I can't control the dynamic of everybody that does what I do for a living.
Yeah.
I'm put in the same bucket nevertheless.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But my walk, my light has to shine through that. And this is what you've done. And I commend you for that.
Mm.
Thank you.
I commend you. I really do. I really,
Thanks,
because
man.
it's that takes courage.
It
Thanks,
does.
man.
It
It
takes
does.
courage. Percy, from a perspective, in that same vein, we stand in. We're going to take some questions very soon. I want to hold you guys. Thank you again for lending us your time. You guys have been dynamic. Okay, let me
Oh,
just
man.
stop and say that you guys have been dynamic. Seriously,
It's all
I,
James. It's all
I,
James.
Get out of here.
I mean, I'm so inspired and uplifted, and honestly, I feel so good having just talked with you both. I really
Yeah.
do.
This has been fun,
Um,
man. Super
this,
cool.
this has been really good. This has been really good. But Percy, if I can shift gears for a second,
Hmm.
and if I can tap into the musicality of everything, right?
Okay.
Um, and this is more of a question, and the only
Hmm.
reason I'm asking this question is because I've been asked this question.
Got it.
And that question is, as minstrels, as musicians, as singers, even as artists, do you believe, and this is a question I pose to both of you, but Percy, you answer first. Do you believe now is the right time to release new music?
I struggle with that. I struggled because I was supposed to release it in March,
Mm-hmm.
and I really, really was like, Lord, I know your word says that my times are in your hands, and I believe that you order my steps, but I really struggled with that. And then I felt as if there was a release in my spirit, not to sound deep, but I felt like there was something that God wanted me to learn in this process. See, what I mean by that is that in the natural, or should I say the normal life, the single is released and you hustle and you go from church to church, you
Mm-hmm.
spread the song, you minister the song, you sell the project, you get. But he had to remind me once again that if I called you to do it, I'll breathe on it. If God breathes on something, it doesn't matter what time you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So let me say it this way. If God said it, then I believe that it's time for you to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this requires relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why he told me I had to reset, because I was going by what the natural thing to do in regards to releasing a project. But what I didn't realize was that God was going to have, I can't even tell you about all of the words, the prophetic words that came to me at the end of the year and the beginning of the year. This was a year for me of launch. I want to like call those people now and say, what were you eating before you prophesied to me? What were you drinking? But why isn't it the year of launch? Because it doesn't look like the year of launch in my natural eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I had to really understand that God sees it differently. So instead of me trying to make it look like the norm, how about I just go with what God says and trust him along the way?
Yeah.
And I want to be really, really clear about that. There is a time and point where you must not lean unto your own understanding.
Yeah.
Seriously. But in all thy ways, acknowledge him and he will direct your path. So I'm leaning into that. I'm releasing a song. I'm not worried about deadlines. Isaiah used to get text messages. I used to be stressed out. I'm like, bro, I don't know what I'm going to do, bro. I said, bro, can I borrow $5, bro? I don't know what I'm going to do. But it's just like, because I just don't know. You're like, oh my God, like, I don't know. But it's like, whoa, calm down.
Yeah.
He's called you to this. Yeah. He's ordained you for this time. Why not prove God in the midst of what looks like a worldwide crisis. Why not prove God?
Yeah.
So I'm releasing a song as soon as possible. So yes,
Okay.
can you release a song during this time? Absolutely. If it is God's will for your life, by all means, hear the will of the Lord and go forward.
Because and I'm glad you explained it in that way, because that's going to encourage somebody that believes, because we we understand the silent dynamics that goes along sometimes with being an artist, right?
Mm.
There are unwritten rules,
Yeah.
that we are to abide by.
Yep.
Understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And perception is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So who wants to be that guy or gal that releases something at this point in time, and just to be an opportunist of the moment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Man, let me write a song that's good for the time, and let me get that bad boy out there, because I'm anticipating that, because of what you feel now is relevant to what I'm writing.
Mm.
So your attention should go right to it. That's the fear,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to be looked at as that person.
Right.
Meanwhile, you could be not doing what God told you to do.
Sure.
Right. James, what do you think on that? Because it's so easy to fall into that level of, what do I do? Right,
Yeah.
wrong, left, right, push, don't push, follow what I'm hearing, following what they're saying. I don't want to be looked at as, how do you free yourself from that type of strain? You know
And
what I'm saying?
I would love to answer this question like I know the answer, or that I'm above all the things and feelings, but I'm totally not, dude. I am totally not. I would say this. Percy obviously has something that he's actively trying to get out right now. Y'all, like, I was that guy like 2 nights ago. I wrote a tune.
Mm.
And dude, it was one of those things. I haven't had a song drop in my lap like that in a long time. And it was a worship song. It was a prayer, but it was also something that's just describing what people are thinking and feeling. And I'm like, and the title was Breathe Again,
Mm.
specifically thinking about George Floyd. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And I texted my dudes, like three of like my closest worship friends who are all Black, and I said, guys, I need you to just tell me if this song, one, like as an artist or as musicians, like, does this suck or not? But also, what is this? And I was just like, yo, because I could see this being like a We Are the World type vibe, because we are now called Victory Church, but for almost 30 years we were Victory World Church. So the world means something to us. The nations mean something to us. It's not that we just see white or Black or brown. It's we see Nigeria, we see Japan, we see Croatia, we see all of these different countries and what they represent and cultures. And I sent him this song, and I was like, guys, I feel very unqualified trying to write a song about this, but like you said, Percy, like, I like voice memoed all this, and I was like, guys, you can tell me it sucks. I just haven't had a song drop in my lap like this in a long time. And one of the lyrics was, God, would you speak peace to the pieces of this heart, and breathe, and I will breathe in all you are. And that's actually the chorus, and it's the chorus. Later it goes on to say, I want to live, I want to dream, and I want a future where I can breathe again.
Wow.
And I was like, hey man, I'm not the guy who's like, my song is the jam, but I was like, that's not bad. I was like, that's not bad. And I just said, hey guys, let me know and get back to me. And obviously just was like, yo, if you got any changes to make it stronger, that kind of thing. But what I will say is this. I think it's great to release new music, because I think faith the way that I love to say it, because when I meet someone who might be far away from Jesus,
Right.
I think this kind of makes it a little easier for them to understand. I just simply say this: faith is believing for more than you know. Not
I'm
believing
with that.
in something, but believing for. It's a belief and a faith and a trust and an expectation in the future. And so our leadership, months and weeks ago said, this is not a time for man's wisdom. This is a time for God's direction. And so if
Absolutely.
you are hearing the voice of God saying, put that out, I think we need creatives who can meet people where they're at, and that song that I just referenced, like, in my mind, that might be, and I think this is the beauty of God. In my mind, I'm going, I feel super unqualified. In my mind, I'm going, this could be a song written by a white dude that really might be a song that helps someone who doesn't look like me unpack some hurt and some pain and years
Right.
of anger or years
Yeah.
of just oppression or whatever that emotion is. And I'm going, to me, that's pretty beautiful, because
Yeah.
that's the body
Yeah.
of Christ.
Mhm.
Wow.
Like, that's what
Oh,
heaven
that,
looks like, is all colors, all creeds, every nation coming together and worshiping one God. And so
Yes.
I would say, if you've got it, my friends, whoever's on the other side of this, watching or
mhm.
listening, if you've got something that's kind of burning a hole through your pocket, put it out.
Hmm.
Prayerfully put it out. But we need, here's the last thing I will say, and I know that we're totally going long. If you don't have a song right now that you go, I want to put it out, you should be cultivating and crafting songs in this
Absolutely.
season. If you're not, you are not putting purpose to this pandemic, and you are not putting purpose to all of this tension right now that we're
Yeah.
feeling, because this is a time, man, when we are literally being, in a sense, forced, with all
Yeah.
of the sin, everything that easily entangles us right now. We are being forced to deal with it and come back to that first love,
Right.
to
Hmm.
come
And
back
I'm
to
so
the
glad.
simplicity in the gospel.
Yeah.
Right. I'm so glad you said that, because as creatives, we are mandated to be productive.
Yeah.
We cannot stay stagnant
Yeah.
in a time like this. This is just like we are seeking to hear God. We should be asking Him, as this is what you instilled in me, this is what you put in me. Give me the tools to utilize them for your glory in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my answer to that is, um, don't ever feel as if the gift that God gave you is ever at an inopportune moment to use it.
Yeah.
Because we can. I Let me digress. I have funneled myself, in all transparency, into a box to say, maybe they don't like that. They don't, maybe this shouldn't be what I do right now. And there's been opportunities that I have missed.
Mm.
And those opportunities have been very clear to me that I've missed them. It's almost like God. I was driving down the highway, and those big billboards, and it just says, "Hey, bud, you missed it." That's how clear and apparent it is.
Yeah.
So I think if you're a writer, write. If
Yep.
you are a singer, sing. If
Yep.
if you are an organizer, organize. Do
Yeah.
what you do.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. I've written, had to be at least 10, 12 songs in the last month. And some of it, when I write like that, I just write and I'll come back to it later.
Yeah.
I'll you know
Yep.
I'll come back to it like, all right, well, it's there, and
Hmm.
I'll reference back to it, and because
Hmm.
we're our own worst critics when it comes to these things.
Yes, we are.
Absolutely.
But I'll also say that, just like you, a song that has been so potent that I wrote, and um, it came to me actually last Sunday, and I was leading worship, um, and it was probably one of the hardest Sundays that I've had.
Mm.
And I thought I was hiding it well. I promise you, I did.
Mm.
I thought I was, masking the hurt and the pain that I felt. Um, but my heart was shattered. I was broken. And it was such a struggle for me. It was such a struggle. And as men, I'm good. I'm all right. I'll get over it.
Right.
I'm good. Um, and I really wasn't. I really wasn't. I was so um, just there. I had a hard time. But one of the song that came to me um, was called Black and Blue, and
Mm.
the first line of that song that came to me, and it said, "I'm black and blue, and I have scars from both of you."
Wow.
Um,
Mm.
and when I read it back to myself, I said, "Ugh," you know, mm, you write song and it's like, "Ugh," like, you know,
Can I say that?
"Ugh," like, you get that moment where it's like, oh man, like was I, whew, you, and then it just flowed because the perspective that I had, and this is coming to you guys' point, this perspective that I had, I knew it was God because it reached every side of me. It reached me as a man. It reached me as a police officer. It reached me as a father. It reached me as a businessman. It reached me as a worship leader. It reached me. It reached me in every area of my life. And when I got finished writing it, I mean, it was literally 2 pages long. God knows you. There was no AABA. There was no lyrical structure. It was just like, boom, here it is. Take it. You
Yeah.
know. But I said all that to say the fear I had attached to it, the fear I had in being okay with what was given to me is what I had to deal with.
Mm.
And I think that's what's being dealt with now. It's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fear of, am I correct? Is that I really hear what I thought I
Mm.
heard, right? And these are the moments where you have to step back and really tap in to get confirmation and instruction.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to ask you guys that because I respect and adore you guys' musicianship so much. And like I said, that was a question that was posed to me. But speaking of questions, guys, I want to, before we let go, let you guys go very in about 5 minutes. But I wanted to see if, would you guys mind if we take a few questions if there are any?
Yeah, man.
From I'm
Sure.
going to
Sure.
take a look at Facebook. Guys, if you have any questions, let them go now. Pour them in. Thank you guys again for sticking with us. This has been amazing. But if you guys don't have any questions, I'm just going to read through some of the comments
Cool.
that was said because I think you guys should be encouraged that you came here and you helped someone, and I want to hear that. I want you to hear that. Um, wow, this is amazing. Comments like, um, wow, this is, I'm in awe. Great words. Um, you know, facts is facts. Real, real big, like the real capital facts. Um, absolutely. When we were talking about connection, there was a comment that said the connection is mandatory, not even an option. It's
Mm.
mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, actually, we did have a question, and it says, what role do worship leaders have outside of the physical building, and how is it achieved? You guys want to hit that real fast? I'll read it again. What role do worship leaders have outside of the physical building, and how is that achieved?
Mm.
Yeah.
James.
No, go for it, bro. You got it.
So, well, to be honest with you, I mean, after leading worship corporately, I realized that I need to be a servant at my home and in my community.
Yeah.
I think people look at worship leading as being like this, this I don't know, this excelled position that comes with so many perks and so many. But I've been challenged, even leading worship. I've been challenged to make sure that I'm leading my home. Uh,
Yeah.
I've been challenged to make sure that I'm presenting Christ. I can't just worship the Lord on a public platform. Uh, Bishop Dale Bronner says to have public success and have a private failure, you're actually failing. So
Mm,
so as a worshiper outside of that, what am I doing to make sure that I'm being made whole, that I'm not just serving and bleeding, that I'm not just so it's like finding things to do that will
mm,
allow me to still serve, but also will allow me to create this this wholeness, that I don't need a stage, that I don't need the mic, that I don't need a platform. And it's finding those things that will help you keep a balance in your life. So what can you do as a worshiper or a worship leader outside of the church? Serve.
Yeah.
Serve.
Represent Christ. Be productive in business. People at my job, they don't see me worshiping on the stage, but they see me walking and saying, "Good morning, hope all is well. You guys good?" They see that part of me that will speak to them more than my stage, because they're not coming to the church.
Yeah.
Wow.
So me being a representer of Christ, I'm not just representing him, I'm representing him to people in my worship. What is my worship? Presenting my body as a living sacrifice unto God. So that's what we need to be doing. That's how we do it. Yeah, that's what we need to do.
Yeah, that's so good. The one thing that I'll add to that, because I think you said it so well. We need to also be shepherds. Anybody that's a worship leader, I've met some worship leaders. Man, I remember the worship pastors. The worship pastors are the ones that have truly changed my life, because they're shepherds. They're anybody can lead you somewhere, right? But there are very few pastors. There are very few shepherds. There are very few that take care of you while they lead you. And I think, and again, I don't know who asked the question. I don't know how big your congregation is. I don't know how big your team is. But one of my guys that kind of mentors me from afar, his name is Rick Pino. I don't know if you guys have ever heard him. His name's Rick Pino, Pino.
Yes, sir.
Dude, we need more worship mothers and fathers. We need that. If you are a musician out there and you're an insane musician, but you rarely care about people, my friend, put down the conversation that's only about music, that's only about production, that's only about chord changes and writing, and get into people's lives. They need you.
So important.
They need you. And that's exactly what Purcy was saying. Serve, get involved in the community, like take care of people. And it's weird for me to say that sometimes, because I'm the baby of my family. I'm only 32. Like when it comes to I have 4 kids, y'all. I'm only 32. Like I'm doing decent for the age that I got. Like I have a lot to show for it. But I have two young ladies that have been with me for a while. They were students when I was in our youth group, and they are both women of color. They are amazing women of God. They don't look like me, but they have my heart, and they share a lot of that same spiritual DNA. And when you don't have a platform, or maybe you don't have a set list to lead, you need to find a person to love. Because man, that is leading worship, because you're leading someone into God's presence. You're leading God into you're leading people into the things that God is. He's love, he's patience, he is mercy, he is goodness, he is kindness. He's all those different things. And if you just equate it to music, my friend, like you are missing the point. I mean, I've been seated at tables, like doing big conferences and big retreats for 700-800 people, and like sitting with production and sitting with the worship team, and all they want to talk about is soundboards and chords and songs. And I'm like, guys, can we please talk about something else? Like, ask me how I'm doing in my life,
right?
Because that's what we think worship is.
Yeah.
And we're missing the point. That's the expression. It's not all of it. It's not all of it. And one of my favorite books, and I say this because maybe you guys know about this book, but this is for your listeners. If you guys have never heard of it, it's a book called How to Worship a King. It's by one of Gateway's worship pastors. His name is Zach Neese. The title is How to Worship a King. He just simply said, worship is love expressed. To God. It can look so many different ways. So again, getting back to the racial tensions, getting back to the pandemic, we are worshiping Jesus when we love our neighbors. We are worshiping Jesus when we express our love, and they hear and they feel and they see something tangibly different in us and our expressions. And
Absolutely.
we can express love for Jesus off a platform. You know, we don't need that. We just like you said, Percy, of just getting alone with God and be like, God, I acknowledge your presence. I acknowledge that you're here. Like your
Wow.
beauty, even in nature, God, your beauty is all around me. I
Yeah.
see your creative heart that you've placed inside of me. It's all around me. And I think acknowledging just the presence of God, that's worship in and of itself.
It
Absolutely.
sure is.
That's worship in and of
Wow.
itself.
Wow. Well, everybody, there you have it. I mean, I don't
Mhm.
even need to say anything else. I have to again. I thank you both so much for coming on and
My pleasure.
sharing your
My
heart, your
honor.
thoughts, and just your experience, both as a worship leader, but as men,
Yeah.
as leaders, as people. And
Yeah.
again, I appreciate your transparent. I appreciate your boldness and willingness to have conversation about difficult things. You know,
Mm.
and I commend you both. But before we go, definitely you'll give us your last words. You can tell us, your social media. I have it here as
Mhm.
well. But if you want to tell us your social media, if you have anything going on, this is your time. Just send us out. Of your favorite, whatever the case may be. Send us out. Send us out with something.
That's fine.
Just so we can, we can leave with your voice.
So my social media is Percy Robinson on Instagram. You can follow me. Purcell Robinson's my government name. That's on Facebook. um, yeah, I'm actually jumping on a 10 o'clock call to impart in worship leaders in 15 minutes. So
Nice.
I'm like, I'm on this train, this amazing train that I'm excited about.
I'll be tuning in.
But yeah, what you say?
I said I'll be tuning in.
Oh, you'll be tuning great. What I want to leave with everyone is open the eyes of my heart, Lord. I want to see you. I need to see you. I pray that you really understand the lyrics of that song and it be your daily request that God really open the eyes of your heart, that you see him for who he is, and that you really experience him in such a major way, because God is waiting for us to show up. He already has everything we need. But he's saying, will you come to me without asking me for anything? Will you just ask me for me? And I just pray that you really, really seek him wholeheartedly, seek him strong, because there is such a depth that God has for each and every one of us. And I believe that there's a stirring that's going on even now. And yeah, I'm not going to get into all that. But in any event, just go with God.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you, James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
My Instagram handle is James Goddard _music. Guys, I would be so happy if you guys bought Percy's song whenever it comes out. So that's my little plug for you. Remember, he's got a song out, guys. Go buy it. Don't just stream it. Like, people buy things. It really helps artists out big time. It really
Yeah,
does.
right.
It really does.
Thank you,
Man,
sir.
I would just say, I feel this really strongly right now. Remember that faith is believing for more than you know. And that's how we need to live. We need to live by faith. This is something that I stole from a mentor a long time ago, but this is what my family lives by. Is we are going to be known by faith. We are going to live by faith, to be known by love, and to be a voice of hope to the world.
Mm.
wow?
As for me and my house, we are going to live by faith, be known by
Mhm.
love, and be a voice of hope to the world. And it's hard to be any of those other things unless you are living by faith. And I really just encourage every single person, whether you're creative or whether, writer, worship leader, musician,
Yeah.
worship is way more than music. You got to live a life in such a way where you put yourself in a moment where you go, I have to believe that God is the God of the invisible.
Yeah.
I have to
Mhm.
believe that I can say something, and something that I never would have even dreamed of is going to happen because I said something. I'm gonna write something and get a download that's invisible, put it on paper, and it's gonna have
Yeah.
an amazing transformative moment. Because I was a 16-year-old kid that someone just said, "Hey man, we'll see you next month." And I fell into this leading worship thing. And there have been so many songs that I go, I have no idea if that's even good, that I've written.
Mhm.
And I had a young person say this, and hopefully this speaks to somebody. I had a young person say, James, um, your
Yeah.
they said, I got saved to your song. And what they meant by that was, your song was playing in this big, massive gym at a youth retreat. When I decided to give my life to Jesus, your song was the anthem of the moment that I decided to give my life to Jesus. And my friends, if you are writers, if you are creators, live your life in such a way
Yes.
where you live by faith, and that invisible download, and that song that is completely invisible, once you make it tangible, once you create it, and it goes from an idea to a creation. Live by faith and go, I believe that this is from the Lord. I believe that I'm
Yeah.
called for such a time as this, and I believe my song will be a song and the music of a generation going forward. And
Wow.
it's been those comments, man, that have kept me in the game. Because I look
Yeah.
at I look at guys like you and I go, man, you guys could play circles around me, like legit. Like, I'm not the best vocalist, I'm not the best writer, I'm not the best all of these different things. We all do it, right? We all do it.
Mhm.
But I live my life in such a way that goes, I'm on this earth to tell people the story of God.
That's it.
Absolutely.
And I may not be the best, but that's not what I'm called to be. I'm called to be obedient. I'm
That's
called
it,
to be
sir.
faithful, and I'm called to be loving. And my friends, any creatives out there, if you give your life to that, if that's who you choose to become, your life is going to mean a whole lot. You're going to leave a lot
Oh,
behind.
wow. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Live by faith,
Mm.
Wow.
be known by love, and be a voice of
Wow.
hope to the world.
Wow. Wow. Everybody, you heard it. I got nothing. I mean,
That
these
is
two
like,
brothers, just blew my mind. And again, thank you so much, both of you.
Thanks for having us, man.
absolutely. My
I
pleasure.
speak life into you both. I speak life. I speak success. I speak, that everything that you desire of your heart, that it comes to fruition. Percy, with your album,
Thank you, sir.
everything that you desire because of your obedience is going to come to fruition, because you serve, because you lead, because you check up on folks. I guarantee you, and I declare it today, that you are
Mm.
going to reap and you are going to sow what you've sown into others. You really
Amen.
will.
Thank you, sir.
You really
Amen.
will. And I mean, for both of you, I mean, even tonight, because of we don't know the day or the hour, but we know that if we abide by what God has given us and we are sincere to it, that our simple voice will touch and heal. It can be the pathway to somebody's deliverance. And I believe on tonight both of you did just that. You were obedient to what you heard, you were
Mhm.
obedient to the call, and you definitely were obedient to the gift that he's given to both of you. So I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I
Mhm.
thank you. So everybody, thank you again for tuning in. I'm gonna let these two brothers go. Thank y'all so much for coming on in, and we will definitely talk soon.
Love
Thank you.
y'all.
Thank y'all,
Bless
Yeah.
everybody. I don't know. I'm full. I'm overjoyed. I mean, this was an amazing experience, an amazing opportunity to just learn and to and just share. And the Bible says iron sharpens iron. And I believe we should all be sharper on tonight. So I want to encourage you all that are watching, that you have a voice, you are loved, you are special in God's eyes. There is nothing that you cannot do, succeed in. There is no weight too strong, too hard, and too bearing that God cannot lift and relieve you from. I know this is a time of mourning. This is a time of great burden. But hopefully on tonight, you felt some relief. Hopefully on the tonight, you felt that you weren't alone. Hopefully on tonight, you heard from these men, their stories, and you were inspired and helped by their truths, by their experiences, by their openness, and by them leading, by them being led and allowing themselves to be led. It's a powerful thing to deny yourself the splendor of being the controlling mechanism of your life. But when you surrender and understand there's a greater purpose for you, there's a greater calling and a higher calling and a higher entity above you that is pulling the strings on your behalf, I promise you, I assure you, you can hear it from me that you will be okay. So again, my name is Isaiah Jamel. I love you all. Thank you again for tuning in. We will see you soon. Look for another post for our next guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is just yet, but know it's coming this week. So again, you can follow me, The Lego Effect, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can follow me, Isaiah Jamel, again on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. But until then, thank you so much, and we will see you soon. God bless.